Okay. All right, 5:08 p.m. Call the meeting to order, starting with roll call. Mr. Shanks.
Neil Shanks, present.
Chiquinta Hill, present. Emily Cunningham, present.
Rachel Lee Pate, present.
Excellent. Okay, we will start with, is there any public comment tonight? There is none. Thank you. Celebrations and recognitions.
Hang on just a second. I will pull it up for you. Oh. Hang on. I'm pulling it up. There you go. And present. There we go. Is it not? Stop sharing. Oh, don't pause my screen share. Resume. There it goes. Okay.
There we go.
Perfect.
We only have a couple celebrations for this month, and a lot of them are like follow-ups to events that we told you about. So Hispanic Heritage Celebration and highlights this month was just one of our most engaging months since I've been here, for sure, as far as like celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. I got a lot of great things from teachers of projects they've done in classes, everything from pre-K kids, hitting piñatas out in the schoolyard to, middle schoolers and high schoolers doing really cool, engaging projects. But it was really all kicked off with this amazing Hispanic Heritage Month celebration that was district-wide, held on our campus. Had more than 250 people in attendance. And at that, we had projects again from all levels. But the biggest highlight was the ladies wearing their quinceañera dresses. And we did get some media coverage from that from KWTX in a story for their Tell Me Something Good segment. So was it just really, really fun? Really, really fun month. It ends today, actually, because it goes from the 15th of September to the 15th of October. So next up, Indigenous Peoples Month. Rock the Block recap. Y'all, if you were here, it was so much fun. We were blessed with the best weather.
It was beautiful.
So we can keep having this event. Although next year, maybe around the gym, in the gym, outside of the gym. But we had more than 1,000 people at that one. Newman was guesstimating somewhere in the 1,200 range. A lot of people. We gave away 700 shirts. We told people that we were handing out 500, and then we were like, surprise, it's actually 700 shirts. We got a really great deal from Graphic Garage, our amazing t-shirt partner and parents of the school.
They were still gone in 35 minutes.
To us, shirts for $4 a shirt. So had to be there to get one though. We also handed out bags of popcorn. That's our National Honor Society down there with little brown bags of popcorn. They're handing out. They got some service hours for that. Snow cones, pizza, bounce houses. Our Spirit Squad debuted with a really fun chant and dance.
They were so cute.
Yeah, super fun. Just way to, even though the school year is well underway at this point, but a way for the whole district family to come together and celebrate. Was a lot of fun.
And our partners, the Y.
Our partners with the Great Awaken YMCA brought all the prizes and all the games, and one lucky fifth grader went home with a big flat screen TV.
And
She
another
won
one
the big prize of the night, and I got a video of her putting her tickets in at the beginning. And I was like, "Okay, Gabby, are you going to win a TV?" And she's like, "Yes, I am." And she did.
And she did. Yeah, super fun.
So yeah, really fun. And then today, front page of the Waco Trib. There we are. There are signing. Yep. And then very fun Masonic construction at the behest of Dr. Newman. Took the beam on the road to Mac and Flu. So just really, really fun. I'm going to try to grab a paper before the day is over so that we have that.
Little time capsule.
Yeah, exactly. Our little gym time capsule. So those are all of the district things, but I can just do them all because there's only one more.
Mine?
No, it's secondary. Unless you want to just chime in from there.
Back to back.
Back to back.
No.
Yeah, so our high school cross country teams brought back the gold again, and both varsity and JV boys were district champs, which is a pretty big deal. Coach Foreman has done a phenomenal job growing this team. Starting in middle school, we have a lot of middle school runners as well. We had one female who also, Clarissa Cordova, also qualified for regionals. So our whole varsity boys team will head to regionals, and then hopefully state. And we'd had 3 in the top 10 as well for cross country. So individual times and as a team did really, really well. So.
Regional meet is Monday of next week.
That's right.
On the 21st. So we're excited to see them succeed just as well as that meet in the state competition on November 1st, which happens to be a no student day. So
we're all going.
Already planning. Well, our staff, how the staff.
Oh yeah,
but we are planning to figure out a way to stream. They stream the state meet, and so we're trying to stream the event with all of our staff live here on campus to be able to have a watch party with staff. So
That would be a lot of fun.
It doesn't take very long for some of those kids. The first place runner improved his time by almost a minute from last year. So pretty amazing.
Wow. We would be amiss if we didn't say it's Principals Month. So just wanted to be able to say thank you.
Vice President.
Yeah. So we all know that the most important person in the lives of the students is the teacher in the classroom, but we also know the most important person in the district really is the 2 principals that keep it running. And so it's just 1 month when we take a minute to say thank you and celebrate you guys. But we wanted to be sure and do it at a level that was really at the level where they make the biggest difference. So they help keep this place running. They keep it centered. They keep the core values at the forefront. They make sure that the teachers and the other leaders really love coming to work every day. And so both of you, we're very grateful for you. And we celebrate you this month amidst all the other 11. Yes. Now you're really principals. So. Do you want to take a quick picture?
Yes, we
with
do.
The board. All right, you guys. Okay, here, y'all come around here. Come around, we gotta take a picture. We celebrate and we take pictures. Y'all stay right here. Y'all get there. She's gonna go there.
I go, well, you tell me where to go and I will go, Dr. Newman.
You know where to go. You know.
No, absolutely not. I'm giving up.
You can stand up. Just say where you go.
Okay. Congratulations.
You can say what you
Wow.
Put on my official jacket.
Yes, put on your green. Sport that green. You're good right there. Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
Especially on the Zoom. Yeah.
I always look back at the pictures and I'm like, stand up straight. I promise in the mornings I start out like this. By the end of the day, I'm like, okay. Oh, you got all these signed. That is our celebrations for the night.
He was like that.
And that's it. Yeah. Oh, did it? You gotta restart it. Next is the consent agenda item. And I do have an item. I do have one item on the consent agenda that I already know that I need to pull off because I do need to give you a little bit of other information about it. And that's 5.1b, the vestibule at Quinn. So I do need to remove that to give you a little bit more information about that. But the other information was in your drive. But we do have oh, that's right. So the financials are in the middle of audit preparation. So there's none there. And then Katrina has a budget amendment discussion. You guys got a chance to probably look at it. It's in the drive, but we have it if you want to go through it.
It looked like the minutes stayed neutral on both sides, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Overall budget.
Move some stuff around.
Small
Mhm.
changes.
Yeah, and that again, that would be the amendment for last year's. Yeah, near final, depending on the finalization of the audit. But if anybody had any questions about any of those, otherwise I do need to pull the vestibule off, and there are not financials in there.
I'd like to,
Was there a textbook committee? Did I miss that?
Oh, I don't think that was in there. You're right.
Just making sure.
No, you're right. Thank you. I just missed that one. None. Yep. And that is thank you. That's a textbook selection committee. I think we're still pulling a couple of names. So
I'd like to learn more about 5.1A, not just to know what,
the cameras.
yeah, the expansion.
Absolutely. The school safety grant allows us to use those grant funds for certain specific things. They put a priority on them. We have to meet all the needs for this before we can move to that, before we can move to this. And one of the things we recognize is there are still places, and there probably will forever be, there's still places where we feel like we have gaps in our viewing area on our cameras. And so our staff have identified kind of the next rollout of places where we need cameras in those. Since we are in a public meeting, I'm not going to identify where we don't have cameras or where we're adding cameras, but there is a number of cameras that we would like to add to our camera system to help continue to kind of really encompass external. And then there's a couple of internal. No, John, is there anything? No. If you guys don't know, this is John Garay. He's our director of facilities. And he's also helping up with the guardian stuff. So he'll be there for that end of the conversation tonight. But
All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
To approve the consent agenda.
Yeah,
minus 2 and 4 and 5.1B. Is that correct?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda -2, 4, and B.
Yep.
Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion passes, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So on the vestibule one, so again, this is part of the safety initiatives that we have to walk through. All of our campuses, for the most part, have a way to secure from the front door past the entry of the building, except for our Quinn building. So this one over here at middle school. So John has been working to try to get companies to come over and give us quotes to build in a secure vestibule so that you can have a front door entry and an air gap, and then a secondary entry as you move through that. And so we've been struggling to get people to actually get out here and give quotes. We did have one company come out, and that's this company. We should be able to get it for less than this. Again, it all comes from the security grant funds. So it's not money that comes out of our regular operating budget. But the total for here is both of those numbers. I've got it kind of pulled up here on the screen if you want. The total from here is both of those numbers. So it's about $33,000. And that would create a secure entry area where you would then buzz into the front area. Then you'd be held in kind of an airlock, and there's a pass through to the front desk. And then there's a second entry that would then allow you to go into the building from that way. So what we would like to be able to do is move forward on it as soon as we get the 3 bids required for purchasing. So if we can get those in the next week, we'd like to be able to take the best bid not to exceed. We know this will be the highest bid. So the best bid not to exceed, but we'd like to be able to move forward on that quickly so that materials can be purchased and installation can happen either over the Thanksgiving break or over the winter break. So we can get that done as soon as possible. My concern is if I didn't bring it to you now, even though I don't have 3 bids, so I can't purchase it today. If I did get the bids, maybe I got them in the next week or 2, then I'd be pushing out, and then we wouldn't be able to get it installed by then. So we will not move forward on a purchase till we've met our procurement guidelines. It will not exceed this, obviously, because we already have 1 bid. So my request for you guys is to allow us not to exceed, following our procurement guidelines, the $33,000.
With those additional quotes be brought back to the board next month that we can see them.
I mean, I'd be happy to provide them, but we would follow our procurement guidelines and just say as long as they were a better value than this one, then we would go with whatever the best value is.
Yeah, I just would like to see them come back to the board.
And I would even, wait, I guess, why do we think this one's gonna be the highest?
Well, even if we get a bid back that's higher, we're not going to go with a higher quote.
If you're happy with this one?
Yeah, we're fine with the work that this would be. They just did some extra work that they think is necessarily needed moving doors and moving keypads and there's another one that he's already kind of talked to that has a more simple plan that still meets the requirements that we need. And so our thought is we would be fine with this one. It's just high and we have to have 2 other bids anyway. So does that make sense? Did I explain that better?
Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to delegate to the superintendent authority to accept the bid for this project.
Not to exceed.
And this-
Perfect. Did you second? Is that what I heard?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry.
You mean this amount or less, correct?
Not to exceed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Thank you.
passes.
Okay, reports. So parent and faculty reps, our parent rep is not available today, so faculty.
I'm glad to be back. I've torn my list in half, but we'll go through it. Real quickly, there were a couple teachers that wrote in again about, have we looked at having a 4-day school week, which we have started, I think, maybe doing something, or we said we were gonna maybe talk about that at some point.
I believe when we had said, I don't think you were here, when we do the calendar discussion
Yeah, that's fine.
in the
Yeah.
early spring, which would be the January, February meeting.
But I got 2 emails about that.
Are these new voices from last month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't bring, unless it's a new topic, I don't bring an old voice back if it's on the same thing. I don't know if that, you get what I'm
Yep.
saying? That kind of sounds, but I didn't.
Can I add a little comment on that request from your staff members that wrote in on the 4-day? Our last meeting that I think you missed when we talked about it, the board members are going to go around and talk to campus leaders,
Yeah.
faculty, staff, and stuff. I met with elementary, with Whitlar and a couple of their staff members there. And at least from the elementary perspective, we looked at, it would be a huge negative impact to the lower grades. Now, I don't know too much if anyone on the board wants to talk to some at the secondary level and find out, but I can tell you right now for elementary lower grades, it's not feasible.
Thank you for doing it.
So,
There was a comment, this came from an elementary teacher, I believe, and the comment was, have we considered offering a gifted and talented program at the elementary level? The comment was that there was a belief that this population of students were really not getting their needs met. And if we had considered putting in a gifted and talented program at that level or something like this. So I'm just passing that on.
Yeah, so I can briefly talk with that about the founding of the school and the reason why we haven't had one since the founding of the school. And then Jennifer can chime in if she wants to. Our school is very tiny and the classes are very small and the cohorts are very small. And so one of the things our founder said is every child is gifted at something. And it's our job to ensure that every child feels gifted at something. And being in a small community, she didn't want to single certain kids out and not other kids and say, oh, well, you are more gifted than this other child or than this other child. So her belief is that across the board, we should be providing differentiation such that every child feels that in certain ways. Now, times change, things are different. Jennifer, what do you think? I know that's how the school was founded and that's how I bought into it at that point. So that's why we don't have it
Yeah.
at this
I
point.
would agree with that. There's a lot of differentiation.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, I'm just.
No, it's great. Yeah. Yeah.
This is an old friend that's come back multiple times. This is actually an old topic. Someone said, brought back by new sources. The old water fountains are back again. Round 4 for the water fountain. This is a comment from a teacher. I think they must be, I don't know what building they're from. They're on this campus. They actually sent me photos. Will you bring the conditions of water fountain in the Quinn building? Especially the ones that are upstairs. They are rusted through, they said. They're rusty. They think that it's a safety hazard. They believe that the rust has some sharp edges. She said the one in downstairs are better, but you have to put a heavy object on one of them to get them to stop rattling so much that it disrupts classes in the hallway. So I don't know if we can look at that or not, but the ones upstairs, she says, this teacher says, are completely rusted through and they're becoming a safety hazard.
We have a maintenance ticket system. That would be a great spot to put that information in. So I'll go ahead and drop in a maintenance ticket so we can get
Okay.
those taken care of.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Almost done.
What's the, will those be replaced with the water bottle systems?
So as we can, we're making sure that there's at least one water bottle filler in each building. So as some die, then one of the ones we bring in, they're rather expensive. So we're not replacing every single water fountain with water bottle fillers. So my guess is if we've got two that are messed up, one will be a water bottle filler and maybe one will be a regular one or something like that. But we'll look at budget and get
And
that.
I
figured.
think this is something that we may be able to answer later, rather than now. But two teachers, and if we don't think people watch the videos, they did. They streamed them, and then one of them read the posted agenda deal. So somebody's reading.
Yay.
This says they were concerned about, and I wasn't here. They were concerned about that there was a chandelier that was discussed.
Mhm.
They were concerned about, it says, why does the money have to be raised or taken out of the school budget? If the cost is too much, and there's two people that wrote very similar ones I combined. If the cost is too much, can the design not be modified to fit a more realistic budget, push the project back? There was a concern that this was putting something that was an extravagance, and I'll quote, over our priority or necessity. And then the teacher went on to add something to the effect that basically, that this cost, if we're going to pull it out of our budget, we said our budget is short, and we haven't incentivized for the teachers as much, or like we could have. That sounds wrong, but basically the point that why don't we look at taking care of personnel and trying to incentivize stuff like cutting back on insurance costs and stuff like that, rather than purchasing a chandelier, which is an extravagance for the budget. That was the basic idea, and that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Enrollment and withdrawal reports.
I don't have updated ones for those in your folder. We are currently sitting at 904 students right now. We've only had a handful of students that have withdrawn in the last month since the last board meeting. So yeah, 904. It's really great. 950 is our cap. So my expectation was for us to kind of cap out at around 900 on any given year. So that's really exciting that we're already kind of around 900 on any given year. I'll do an updated one and just send it out as just an informational piece for you guys so that you'll get that.
Are y'all still seeing strong attendance percentages?
Yes. So we're still sitting around that 96 to a little bit over 96%. Our goal is to get back to that between 97 and 98. Elementary was, I think, 97.1. Yeah.
But Monday, whenever Wake Wisety was out for Columbus Day, our attendance was up.
Yeah.
Like I think we had upwards of 35 kids absent for the day.
Mhm.
Out of 400%.
Do we have families that have kids in both districts?
We do. Yeah. But that's something that we talked about when we did the calendar this year. This was, I think, one of the few days where we are open and they are not. But yeah. And we had fall break and we didn't want to move it back a week. And anyway, so it was one that we knew like but we've tried to, when we did this calendar, we tried to be very careful with half days, other people's days off, like tried to kind of align as much as we could with that one, because yes, that is, and so many people just think, well, if the main school district in town is closed, then everybody else will be closed too. Even though we run our own thing. So,
And there was a lot of communication. So
There
thanks
was.
to Ms. Menifee and newsletters about school starting back on. But it's also hard to get people when one kid is home to get the other kids home.
I
So
appreciate that. Because my kid's school was closed on Monday, but I didn't know until Monday morning. And they're like, reminder, no school today.
oh, okay. Great. What do I do now?
sometimes people drop their kids off on those days too, so usually you try to catch it. The Quinn middle school attendance rate right now is right around 97% as well, which is great. Meyer High School has been lower than we'd hoped for our goals for this year. We're right around 95%.
Which is still up
It is up
dramatically.
but
So
we're looking at how we're pushing those. We had a lot of illness at the beginning of the year, which I think has impacted that. But Ms. Pollard and I have a meeting this week to sit down and talk through some more comprehensive.
Thank you. The CFO, leadership.
Mhm.
So my audit got moved up a week. It starts on Monday now instead of the 28th, which
Mhm.
is just amazing. Best news I've gotten all year. So I've been like knee deep in audit. So I was talking with Jennifer earlier. They have a database that they request 3 audit things, reports, and bank statements and all that kind of stuff. And they have put 57 requests in there so far. I'm sitting right at about 50% uploaded currently, but I've got a few days, so I'll get there. It's just a lot of work. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get there.
It will be
That's
great.
everything right now. Just coming in on the audit. 'Cause I would like to get it done and presented in the December meeting instead of doing it this year. It's due to TEA, I think January 21st or 22nd, so if we approve it and present it at the December meeting, I think we'll have to get it reported to TEA.
Doesn't that kind of also align with our training and part of the training and the financial aspects? We can do it all at once.
Yep, it absolutely does. Yep. Okay, so I have just a couple of things for the superintendent's update. I need you to kind of pre-mark in a quiet way your calendar for December 12th. That is one of our parent engagement night activities where we're inviting parents. We have a handful. They're going to go to our Triple Win facility and do like a maker's night over there. But in coordination with that, we are offering for students and parents and staff to actually open up little makers booths that will be held on the corner of that facility. Some of our students in partnership with the Triple Win Summer Project have created these pods, these market pods that they're going to post out on that big grassy area that's right on the corner. So those should be delivered in the next week to 10 days. And then it will become a maker's market that can be like a pop-up market and then a closed down, not like a flea market, but like a true maker's market for that. So we're going to use that night as our district-wide holiday celebration and maker's night for the families that will be inside the facility. We'll all be outside. We're planning on hot chocolate cider kind of stuff. And then families, we just kind of sent a message out to families and we already have 8 booths that families are bringing back in. So students will be able to do booths. And then we're also going to open it up to staff to do booths. So it'll be a neat thing. So December 12th, somewhere in that 5:30 to 7 o'clock range, but I'd really like for you to kind of block your calendars off that. The other cool thing is we're also going to double it up as a ribbon cutting for the location, for the venue, which means that other schools that helped, the kiddos that helped build the pods are also going to come to the site. So our goal for that space was to be a community space. And that night, we're going to have kids from all 3 different schools that partnered together to work on the pods with Sturdy Steel for the summer grant from the Texas Education Agency. They'll be there to celebrate it, to do the ribbon cutting, and then we're going to kind of coincide that with our district kind of holiday celebration thing. So December 12th at 5:30, probably 5:30 to 7. It'll be open longer than that, but those will be kind of the main windows for that. So no, at Triple Win. So it'll actually be right at the corner of, I think, 11th and Webster is where the grassy area is, at 11th and Webster.
May I make a point? Just a quick one. There's a wonderful food truck in front of Triple Win, and they do great Taco Tuesdays. I'm just saying, if you never visited during the work week, there's a great local business in front of it as well.
And they are partnering with a couple of our kiddos to start looking at practicums in the food service and like the food truck. You saw the newspaper article about the beam signing. I just want to shout out again. Mazonica has been really great to work with in a lot of different ways, but they actually gave us a truck, the trailer, and drove me around to the campuses to make that happen. And so I asked them, I tried to do it. I have my CDL. I tried to do it. And they said, insurance wise, I'm like, look, I drive a horse trailer. Like, I totally got this. And they were like, well, insurance. So anyway, the guy drove around, waited in the truck while we had people come out and sign, and then people come out and sign. And Jennifer made it all happen where people traded out of classrooms real quick so they could just run out and sign whenever they went. But it was so fun. So one whole side is all middle school and staff. The other whole side is high school staff, students, and then elementary staff. So we drove it back around and parked it. And before I could get out, walk through the facility, back around over into my office, they already had it installed. So it's actually up there installed already. And they'll come back and do the clear code over that one. So really excited about that and that they help make that happen. Just want to give you guys a heads up. We're working on the economically disadvantaged student forms right now. It looks like the number of students that we have that are going to qualify underneath economically disadvantaged labels is dropping kind of dramatically. And we are not done completing forms and getting those all back in. But right now it looks like maybe as much as a 10% shift. Less students who are economically disadvantaged. So either families are doing better or incomes are better, shifting as students come in and out. So we're watching for what that looks like. We still have students who haven't completed forms, so we're still working on that. But I do think there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. Some of the kids that qualified from like the COVID era and recovery post-COVID, it looks like a lot of that recovery has kind of started to move forward from that. So I'll give you guys an update whenever we have all that locked in. But that's just preliminary numbers for that. The teacher incentive allotment process, you guys approved that a year and a half or so ago. And so we have done our very first full data submission. So that information is off in the hands of Texas Tech to do their validation for that. We won't know back until February. We might get some feedback. They might have questions for us. And in February, we will know whether we validated. If we validate, then we get to give out checks. If we didn't validate, they might have some questions, but it's like, okay, try again this year and resubmit. And so we can resubmit the data for this year, but this year will be over halfway done, almost 3/4 of the way done by the time we find out whether we validated last year. But we feel really good about it. There's a lot of alignment with what TEA says we should have looked like when we submitted our data. So we're hoping for really good results from the initial data submission, which means we're deep in the year for year two. And so we're continuing to move through the student learning outcomes process. And then the T-test, the Texas, whatever, the teacher evaluation system. So working through that in year two implementation. So we're still working some of the bugs out with that, but we are in year two of that. So we're really excited. I talked with one of the districts that kind of helped us initially think about getting started. And they have 50% of their teachers that are all getting some sort of check. So that's pretty incredible. They're going to get almost 3 million, I think she said, right now to give to all of the teachers that they have. So it's a pretty neat thing. I hope we can move in that direction as well. She said it has dramatically changed, not only the quality of teachers that they keep, but the quality that they get. And she said we have maybe 1 or 2 on any given year that roll, and they're either retiring or they are literally relocating, right? They don't have an option. They have to stay within the district. They don't have to stay in the same grade level or in the same content, but they have to stay within the same district. Otherwise, they don't get that money. Yeah. Then the last one I have just real quick. So Jennifer, I didn't give you a heads up, but I was hoping you could just briefly mention, we're doing some site visits for curriculum reviews. I'm really excited. Jennifer and her team have kind of put this together. So I thought maybe you could just briefly talk about why we're doing it and the 2 curriculums we're looking at.
So we are walking through the Strong Foundations planning with TEA. TEA, let me see how I can say this. TEA has put some stipulations on ways that they will provide money to pay for new curriculum. And so we are walking through the process where we are coming up with a learning framework, okay, for English language arts, for teaching and learning. We've started that process. We have another meeting next week, but basically they're giving us grant money to create this framework for English language arts for our students and what we believe we need to provide for them and do for them on a daily basis in English language arts. And we're going to take that framework then, and we're going to go put it up against new curriculum. Instead of going the other way around and looking at curriculums and seeing if it fits us, we're going to come up with this framework and finish it. And then we're going to go look at curriculums and say, does it fit our standards and expectations for what we believe Rapoport students need in arts? I like the process that TEA has put forth in this, which is great. The second part of that is, if we pick one particular curriculum, they will pay for it. If we pick any other curriculum, they will not. So,
but they're not pushing that one.
They're not pushing that one. You have all the you want. So anyway, We have chosen 2 schools to go to in South Texas, one in South Houston, one in South San Antonio. And we'll be going to South Houston next week to Yes Prep Charter School. They do a curriculum called Wit and Wisdom. We have some samples of it and are already looked at it and want to see it in action. And then the first week of November, we'll go to South San Antonio to Lytle ISD. They do Amplify, which is now called Blue Bonnet. The curriculum has changed names and shifted a little bit in what it looks like. And we want to see that in action. So our framework will be done by that point. We will present it to the board as we get further along the way. So you all can see it, but it will help us as we really hone in on what we believe we need to provide for students. And then we're gonna go put that up against curriculums and say what fits what we want for kiddos. So we've got a leadership team, 7 of us, and we're going down to the site visits. There's also a larger committee of teachers and TAs and others that are also looking at the framework as well as we start honing in and editing and revising and all of that. So it's been a good process. There's a second part to the grant. So if we get to a point where we choose a certain curriculum, we will apply for the second part of the grant, which will be for next year.
And you'll see there's an agenda item later on in the agenda that we're in the process of still gathering that feedback. We wanted to hold a spot on the agenda just in case we were ready for that. We got some really great feedback, some strong affirmations for the initial draft of the learning framework, but we want to collect a little bit more feedback from that. It is an elementary activity right now, but it is something that we really like. We like the process of going through that. And so we'll probably be pulling that similar process up into middle school and high school as we look at learning outcomes and learning frameworks for middle and high school. So it's a pretty neat process as we move through. So we should, by the very next meeting that we have with the board, bring that framework to you guys with the feedback and the data and the documentation behind it. And we will have had those site visits by the time we walk back. So we'll be able to talk with you about our experiences for those. But it's pretty neat. Thank you. You guys have any questions? No? No? Okay. I'm going to hit share again.
Board committee reports. Anybody? Do you mind if that would take those first one?
Go. You have to leave
Yes,
here in just a minute.
by all means.
Yep.
We have been working our families off. We have a lot of information, so I'll try to do it very quickly. And like Rachel, we have chime in behind me and
I'll pass around this one.
so we got all the information back from Rachel as well as fundraising for the gym, like the bricks, and families being able to order the bricks. We got the bricks that are going to be expensive. They can be a 4x8, 8x8, or a 4x12. We can mark it up as much as we choose to.
Should be in that
Also make sure that we have price points for families to make sure things are affordable. They can also do simple little Christmas ornaments if you want to Rapoport logo on it and your family name inscription or something on it for $5. It's 10 after they add on like the logo and stuff like that. But that's just the base price. That's not like a Rapoport says we can get an ornament for $20. I'll pass around these information pages that will also let you know about the prices of the bricks, so you know where it starts. But we would like to see if after you look over these questions, it's a lot of information, so I'll pass it around. If we can at least seek approval to begin the process to have that website set up. So then as people go and order, after they have ordered a certain amount of those bricks, they will ship it to the school. We were talking with John and the contractors, they would be able to work that into the already budgetary landscaping or something to the gym project.
Yeah, after we met with them, they actually did a more problem solving and came up with kind of some very simple designs that would be like a plug and play where they could input already blank ones. And then when we get what we want, they can pull out 2 of these because we have this one that fits in there, or they can pull out 4 of those. And we could, that way we don't have to stop construction that we were kind of concerned about. Be able to just pick up in place and pick up in place.
Thank you for getting those measurements to me and the committee, John. So right now, for the square footage, there are 4 areas. Thank you for setting up that tool.
All clear. Yep.
think we can do 792 4x8 bricks, 257 4x8 bricks, 2,002 4x8 bricks, and another 1,150 4x8 bricks, which is a total of over 4,000 bricks available for the community to purchase for themselves, for families, students, faculty. We can apply discounts. And I think I saw spring of 2025 possible, the gym being open for graduation. So as they're
That's the
ready to
plan.
start working on the grounds, all of this can kind of already almost be in place. So I'll pass all this information around. I will find a way, I'll PDF package all of this. I know Rachel has some other information
If you
about
share that with
proclamation for
Shaquinta.
Commissioner's Court.
Would you pass
Yes.
that to her?
And I will quickly say it while we're here and then we'll continue. But this is a recap of that facility meeting and discussion. The priorities that Shaquinta was given updates on were some of the next steps we wanted to move on during this meeting, which is determining the timeline, which helps that now we can make adjustments.
Mhm.
And then what the cost would be based on the areas, how many bricks we would be able to fit into the areas allowed. So we've done some follow-up. Most of it has been Shaquinta speaking with Bricks Are Us, but also Shaquinta has championed the commissioner's office doing a proclamation. And so just this document here is something you can probably find most of on our website. That's where I pulled it from. But I think it is fair to share with the board in thinking about history and projects and different things. Mr. Nason also mentioned some of the students are working on different historical things that we can add context to whatever artwork or appreciation. But one of the things that is new that was not on the website that I included in here for consideration in that proclamation was gym construction. I wanted to make sure that we bring this to the board so that we don't have any discrepancies in timelines or information that's in there, that it is accurate. But I will say, to my recollection, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Newman, we began talking about the gym project in 2018, before pandemic, got to a certain point during the pandemic and said, okay, this is not what we're doing. And then in 2021, when the YMCA was being sold and that situation was what it was, we determined, okay, we need to get back to our gym discussion. And that this is going to be not only our Ravencourt Gymnasium for our students and families, but also for community events as well. So anything that we're hosting, hopefully any other school can come and have a graduation or prom or community event. So these are just some, I would say, I wouldn't say bare bones, but as much factual information that you can pull from to put into that, and that we can also use for any projects or timelines that we want to make sure are remembered as part of the artwork that goes into it. Jim.
And I will add on the proclamation. So this will be something that is set up in the McLean County Commissioner's Court when they have their hearings first, third, and if there is a fifth Tuesday as required. So whatever date is pinpointed down based on Judge Felton's schedule, they do a formal reading of this document. So it can be long, but he reads the whole thing. So we want to make sure that we have enough information in there, but as concise as possible. And I would love to invite, once we get these dates, I'll ask Judge Felton and his assistant Cody if she can give me at least 3 that the board can choose from, because I would love for all of you to be present. And I think all receive the proclamation on behalf of the school district and the community, and just kind of have that as a staple for the gym somewhere.
That's
So
awesome.
if everybody is cool. So I think what we're needing is a vote to approve moving forward with Bricks Are Us as the fundraiser company for them to begin working on the website, to have that set up so people can start purchasing their bricks and possibly the ornaments so they can have them before Christmas.
Katrina, are there any sort of procurement issues or things that's not a cost to the board? Is there?
We use the words no cost.
Just to make sure it's public. Yeah.
Yes.
So no cost to the board. Everything is within the sales price of the brick, including shipping and everything, right? I remember you said that was the big selling point.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing we just need to make sure, John, whenever we find out the shipping or drop date, that there is a space for those trucks or pallets to put, because it's gonna have a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, we can move pallets. There will be a dock on that site anyway for deliveries.
Okay.
So that
And
works.
then also to, if we want to postpone the proclamation information so everyone can review it and come to the next board meeting with additional insight, and then we chop it up and improve it and we give it to the judge's office for them to put it together.
That was my thought, yes.
Okay.
So when would you like for me to put this back up on the agenda? You want it
Should I talk about
November or December?
Proclamation.
Mhm. November? Okay.
But today I'm very, very much asking for
The bricks.
approval for the bricks and the ornaments.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
I have one, and it may be directed to you, Dr. Newman. I know,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You go
No, I was
ahead.
gonna say, when you were asking about the chandelier, that was a big discussion in our last meeting.
Mhm.
A lot of the fundraising that we've been talking about, we would like to make sure that a lot of this money goes back towards, if the school is hit in the budget for that chandelier, that this money is going to go back towards that or into teachers' pockets, however the district can,
To offset that.
yes.
Yeah.
So-
I think the other thing about the chandelier is we've talked a lot about this is a student designed for the most part. The student design wasn't a functional, you couldn't mount it. It was oversized. And anyway, but they've been working on it, the design and the concept for over a year. And so that was the point, is to like have a place where you walk in and it is student focused, student designed, student brought into that central area. Now, anytime, so Natalie and her team of students have been trying to build it for a long time, and finally came over the summer and just said, we can't. And so they thought the project was just scrapped, like it was done. And then they were able to partner with a local artisan who works with the Nichols, who said, you know what, I'll be happy to take that on and get it done. So they took the student design, she made it possible, functional, and then that's what came back and presented to the board. So I totally understand where that staff member is coming from. That's why I think it's got to be fundraising, donation, special interest kind of stuff. But in order to meet the deadline, to be able to have it ready by mid-April, we needed to move forward on it so that we could lock in things with the designer so that we could do that. So the hope is, to go back with what the staff member or two said, is the hope is that that money actually doesn't come out. The board said if it has to, fine. But no, that's not really where we want it to come from. But we had to be able to move forward with locking in that so that we could get this dream, the student designed recognition piece in. So
And I
but-
understand where you're coming.
Yeah,
from,
no,
but
I
from
just-
a
yeah.
teacher's- And I represent the teachers.
you do. I
But
understand.
From a teacher's perspective,
I understand.
when you were saying we're, and the bonuses were cut because the money's not there for other reasons.
That was great money. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like the salary increase for 1%. And
Yep.
these things, when you bring it and you say to the teachers, we're gonna work on trying to do the best we can to put more money in your pocket.
Mhm.
And then when you say,
To a student chandelier.
and
Yeah.
now we're gonna buy a chandelier for $15,000.
Mhm.
From
I
a
hear you.
teacher, and you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear
That
you.
is, looks like an exorbitant cost, and you're saying,
Yeah.
do you weigh the teachers you have here more?
Yeah.
Or do you weigh this object more?
Mhm.
And so from teacher, I'm just bringing you a teacher's
Yeah, yeah.
perspective.
And it's hard when you don't consider different pots of money, right? Like you can't
Correct.
use all money for all things, but
Correct.
I just want to say, I totally understand where the comments are coming from. I also understand the project itself, right? Like I understand the struggles on both sides.
And I think it's gonna be great, but
I understand. Yeah.
I'm representing a
You do.
specific point of
Yeah.
view.
So I think the company that you looked at, you guys gave me the name. So I dug back through it again and I absolutely support the Bricks R Us company that they've done their research on. I mean, it seems very clear, very transparent, very timely. There's no issues with like the Better Business Bureau of like taking money and not getting stuff done, right? I mean, it seems like a great option.
And you said, I'm
to-
sorry, you said, Dr. Newman, that they were going to work those bricks in to where whatever they are using, it will work with whatever.
Yeah, so
I can-
Masonic itself came back in that troubleshooting meeting right after they met, came back and talked with us and they said, we could easily, because it's just, you're going to build the same pad no matter what
Right.
for the concrete, right? No matter what, you're going to build the
Correct.
same understructure for it. So all they're going to do then is instead of putting in solid concrete, they're going to put like concrete borders. And then in between that, they're going to put just pavers. So we can pop out these pavers and put in these. So maybe when we sell a block worth,
Mhm.
then we just take those out and use them somewhere else.
Yeah,
and then we
I
put
just
in,
wanted to make sure it wasn't like, let's say 887 are ordered.
We can't do it. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
And then we need 1,800. They don't match up. You understand?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure they coordinate enough to where there's a system in place to where it's like.
Well, and that's one of the things I like about this company is that's the way they plan it. Is they plan it in very strict like setups, and you can lay out your design, and then you don't have to question anything. Like they can pre-architect it.
And John even gave us the blueprint from Masonic, and I blacked out the private areas. So the only areas that Returns received were those where the pavers can go. So they know exactly how many can be ordered. And then anything that doesn't fit, that's where Masonic would come in and just put in fillers. So where they were going to lay concrete anyway, that price point is already part of the package. So there's not a cost or an uplift, upcharge, I should say, that's going to cost the district.
And they actually came back and said, initially you think about maybe pavers far left, far right, front to back. But if you do it on the far right, the paver's eventually going to fall into the grass. So you need to keep a border over here. And so, but they're very into it. Masonic is, they're really excited about the project and the recognition for that. And I think it's going to flow really well.
In that packet that I'm passing around, Dr. Pepper's information is in there. They have a current fundraiser that's going on. And if you've ever looked at Baylor's football stadium or the new basketball arena, their grounding around the seating area has those same, they use the same company. So at least we know we're working with someone that's very good.
And is Masonic going to recommend, like, you want, it seems like there's lots of options for tiles and bricks and textures. Will they tell us which ones to offer? I guess I don't want parents logging in and picking a marble tile that's gonna.
No. We provide the option. It's not like you get to pick your words, not the actual finish. Right. And that's the same way to say.
And they could put all that on there, but it would be more like if you want to offer marble, then the price point needs to match, because then it shows that it may be more for businesses and corporations. So we wanted to make sure that we had an entry level price point, mid-level, or maybe even corporate level. So that's one more before we come to a vote. We need to decide what is the uplift on those brick prices. Because while the cost itself is, I guess it's relative to anyone's particular personal finances, they are very affordable. So where Baylor was doing $400, for a brick, I don't think it's necessary for Rapoport to do something like that. So I would think maybe at the highest price point, $100 for a family. But we can also offer discount codes and things like that. So we need to decide what. Yes, ma'am.
Are we doing 4x8 and 8x8?
Yes.
Okay, so is the 4x8 the $100 price range, and additional double-sized brick would be
2?
Yeah. So like a 2-tier kind of, yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and decide. Oh, we don't have price
Bless you.
tonight.
I know we just passed that around. What were they charging us per brick?
It's like 19 or
Yeah,
$20
it's
for the small.
the most expensive brick was the 8x8 with a logo, and the cost would be $34.50. Yeah.
On concrete.
The lowest price point for like the 4x8 is $90.
So $20 to $30 roughly. 20 for a single, 30 for a double.
You guys, I just want to say I'm blown away. Like, this is so much work, and to like present it with all the answers. I am so grateful, and this is so meaningful on multiple levels.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So maybe what we can do is just narrow it down to 3 sizes only being offered instead of this whole thing they have.
If we had like a corporate sponsor, could they put the logo, or would it just be text?
They would pay additional, I think it's $5 for your own logo. Corporate, I think. I'm looking at you like you were on the phone.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Yeah.
I want to say it might have been around $25. I have to double check.
For the logo.
But I think we should narrow it down just so any family, any citizen, any neighbor can afford one and be part of this community effort to bring the stable into East Waco.
So what 3 sizes would you recommend?
Yeah, 4x8, 8x8, and a 12x12. Now they have benches, but
How
no,
much
that's just the
is it 12 by?
the 12x12, I just saw it. It's $39.50. Now they have, that's on the concrete one. That's for the concrete. No, I don't think we should focus on marble and granite unless we want to put a price point out there that targets corporations and businesses.
I would just say I would like to not have multiple substrates to learn how to maintain.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you suggest the 4x8, the 8x8, 12x12, and the prices run generally from $20 to $40.
$20 to $40.
1932, 39.50.
Yeah. What, yeah, yes.
That's at cost.
Yeah.
That's not, that's breaking even. There's no fundraising effort with $20 to $40. So we have to set the price point for each of those sizes.
Well, if the fundraising goal is 15,000, I think you have, and how many people do we expect, and then what do we need to price it at to meet that?
I know you already had an estimate for how many of each size.
Yes, the papers are out.
Okay.
So 4x8 bricks.
I'm pulling up my Excel app right now.
Well, she has it right here.
Okay.
Just for 4x8 only is what they quoted. It's 4,201 bricks. So if you did a brick, an entry level brick at $50.
That's what about 50, 100, and 200?
I like that idea.
We're not gonna sell 4,000.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you think? Why don't we shoot high? The little ones could climb back down the mountain. They can too, seriously.
I agree with you. We talked about not just soliciting from the school, but sending this out to community businesses, corporations, previous givers, foundations. And so I can see there being a lot of larger businesses that will want to get a 12x12 or an 8x8. And then many of our students and community members may be happy to have a smaller brick. And I think when you give them, or they order, I'll say, when people order their brick, we receive a layout of what it's going to look like. So it shouldn't be random. They'll make a layout customized to, you know, you've got a big one here, a couple small ones, a big one, a few small ones. I will say I agree with you, Nathan, on the fundraising potential. I think where we were was wanting to make sure that families and staff and people that have not just, you know, kind of watched the process, but are really the kind of benefactors of it, have an opportunity to put their staple on it. I am not as forgiving with corporations. And I say that in the fundraising part. I don't think we want to necessarily try to fundraise off the little people, but I feel like the big people can afford a little bit more. But I think the options there, again, you know, custom logo, things like that, giving them some value for a 12x12. I don't think it's anything to a bank to give you $200 for a brick, but it should mean a little bit more fundraising wise for them to make an investment in the school. And the brick just shows that, hey, we did it. So I'm here on how you communicate that to the people that have the ability to see the fundraiser as an investment in the school, and those people who are wanting to just make sure that they have a part in the project and can be affordable for them. So I think $200 is very low for our high end.
Okay, so what do you think?
And also, for
So-
all board members, I think it's our duty to also spread the word about the district that we support. You know, sharing it on your social media, like when SJ was here last week, talking about sharing events that the school district is having. This is our call to action to make sure that we're representing the district as board members and sharing that information to the community. So it's not just families, students, and staff that are supporting this effort. It is involved with the community, which is who we serve as well.
On that 4201, is that if all of the bricks were just that size?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
it
any
would
larger
adjust.
one would adjust. Okay, so I kind of did some dirty math here.
Mhm.
So I assumed I took that total number of 4x8s. So that 500 8x8s, I took off 1,000 4x8s because you'd have to subtract that many to get, and then likewise for the 12x12s. So ignore that 1401 right there. If we sold them at 50, 100, 200, the cost is 20, 32, 40. The profit is 30, 68, 160 per brick. The last line is your totals, assuming you sell 100%.
So Ms. Payton, you wanna go up to?
Is that taking out the costs?
I am okay with.
Yeah, the cost is line D, is column D.
What about 5,100?
So.
So
Better. I
This is
think
your
the 50
price
and the
point?
100 are good because most
Yeah,
of
we
our,
understand.
most of our
So
people
this
will
is your
come in there,
cost.
but I think
That's
if
your
you were
profit.
looking to do a 12 by
That's your
12
total. If you sell
tile,
this, then
yeah, that's a
that-
pretty
that profit.
extravagant piece.
That's your total for the fundraisers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
being a part of the chamber, I think we've got corporate businesses that we can absolutely share that out to and impress, communicate to. 5,100, 300 makes me feel better.
And pushing the 300 towards corporate business.
Yeah, pushing that toward corporate businesses.
So the 300 adds another 10,000 to the total. If you sell 100%. Now, that means we have to sell. Hang on. Right. That's a total number of bricks. 3,401.
So tonight.
That's not right.
Do you have what you need? Can I have a motion?
I don't know how to word it.
Okay.
Price point, move forward with the website. And for the bricks and ornaments, and I hope the price point for ornament, it will be 5 and 5, so that's costs of 10. If they add on like the Rapoport logo, that's an additional 5. So do we want to put the ornament at $220?
I go out of town regularly and get ornaments everywhere I go. I pay $20 to $25.
Okay.
3,400 bricks is a lot.
I'm sorry.
That
Yeah.
number seems really ambitious to me. What we
Yeah.
So
So we toured
Yeah.
the
I think
towns.
even if you earn 10% of that, you're at 14,000,
Mhm.
which almost.
And it can also
Oh,
be
that's
done
Is it not
continually.
It's no, that's not the right
Is
number.
that 144,000?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're
So
talking about the
that's-
ornament cost.
The fundraising effort isn't just
No.
to focus on the gym, it's money that's coming back into the district. For
That's your
any
number.
future needs of the district as well as whatever needed
Yeah.
for the gym build out. So,
So the total cost of an ornament is $15.
no,
They said 20.
let's do 20.
Oh, is that,
And
I'm
I'm
saying
saying
that,
that's cost in itself.
yeah, what's the actual cost of the, it's
$10.
10, but then with Rapoport engraved, it's
5, an extra 5, 15.
So an engraved Rapoport ornament is 15. I think 20,
Selling it for 20.
but our margin would just be $5.
It's very low.
I
Yeah,
think we could do at least 25.
I agree with you on that.
I'm at the mercy of the board here. But
So how many ornaments are you wanting to sell?
Next.
so the ornament,
$5 is gonna
Okay.
and I'm so sorry, I was supposed to bring that today. It is a very simple.
You brought it.
thing.
It's in there somewhere.
Oh, I'm in the actual, they sent me.
Oh.
I'll
Okay.
bring it and drop it off and pass around. It is about this big. And
Speak
it
up.
has a plain string. So I don't know that I want to go over $20 for, and it's flat. It's a flat
Great.
circle.
Let's move on.
So
20 seems to be consensus.
Anything to access?
I think it's all right.
Okay.
with an ornament.
20.
It's like a hard,
Plexiglass.
maybe,
Like a,
it's not gonna be
Acrylic?
plastic.
yeah. acrylic. Okay. Okay.
I'm buying one. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so did you make a motion?
Do you want me to help you word your motion?
I could just delegate it to the committees to do.
Yeah.
I make a motion to delegate the pricing and decision to the committee to go forward, with the vendor that they found and the numbers that we've discussed tonight. If it needs to be tweaked, I think that they should have authority to tweak it within a reasonable range.
Second.
And we'll come back and defer the proclamation information for the next committee.
Because we will read it
November.
and give feedback if necessary.
Can I ask for that committee's benefit that feedback happens prior to the next meeting so that we're not reviewing feedback at the meeting?
Share it on your drive.
No, but I can share it if you'll give it to me. Yep.
on the November drive?
I'll add it to the November drive.
Awesome.
I do have another question. I know we need to vote on your motion, so I will hold that question, but it is about fundraising, but not that.
Does it relate to this vote?
No.
Let's complete the vote first.
Mhm.
Do I have a second?
We already got
Oh,
that.
sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, fundraising facilities
job.
committee. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wanted to ask, in addition to add to the chandelier discussion, do we know or can we get a rendering of how many of those engravable birds and things like that will be included on the chandelier for options about fundraising on that as well?
Well, so I held her off on sizes of
Okay.
those pending the history wall.
Okay.
Because I think the history wall is going to determine how much wall space we have
Mhm.
in order to be able to recognize graduates
Mhm.
or major donors or anything like that.
Mhm.
Plus, I don't want to take away from brick sales
Mhm.
yet, if
Mhm.
that's really where we want to focus on
Mhm.
first. And so this could be a second fundraiser, but really the point of that is for graduate recognition. So, sorry.
No,
No,
not
yeah.
a problem.
On this list, it's not on here, but I think it might be for consideration, and it would be good, is in the gym, banners.
Mhm.
That's already being covered by the athletic director.
Thank you, see,
He's on it.
that's all, no motion, no anything, that's how
Yeah.
easy that is.
He has already said there will be banners, and I said, absolutely. Sounds great.
Okay. Does district improvement have anything to report?
No, I had a crisis and they weren't able to meet.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
That's my fault.
Okay, so finance committee, we met this week, and I'm just gonna, we had 3 differing opinions. And so we thought, okay, we're gonna bring it in front of the board and see what they think.
Ooh, fun.
How's that? Is that
Yeah.
fair? Okay, so in your drive, you have a document called insurance update. Because we asked Katrina, can you just shake it out under the 3 different proposals, which is $25 per month contribution increase to offset the health insurance premium increase, if you recall, or a $50 increase.
It's up there now.
Thanks. So we have an updated budget surplus of 233,000. We thought that was an opportunity to investigate this. Basically, there's 4 options. And help me out, Amanda, if I'm not or 5 maybe. Yeah. We could do nothing. We could give a $25 a month contribution increase now, which costs $30,000. A $50 increase now, which costs $60,000, or wait until the spring as an enticement or like a retention tool of like delay that for either one of those amounts. Is that what you were thinking? Am I saying that right? Okay.
Yes, I'm happy to talk about my position. I
Yeah,
don't think we should do it now. I think that, well, I'm not convinced that we should do it at all. This is a line item that's going to be added to an operating budget, right? So it's not like we're spending the surplus on a one-time thing. This is something that we're going to continue to have to offer in perpetuity. And so it's not like something that seems to fit like a surplus or a windfall. This is a new budget item. And so my thought is that we should kick it and just kind of defer a decision or discussion on it until maybe the end of the year, which has the added benefit of if we do it, if we decide that this is a wise use for these funds, that it would serve as kind of an incentive retention as opposed to just a middle of the year surprise. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so this is.
So it's 2 separate. No, so the budget amount for the security cameras and the vestibule are from a very specific pocket of money that the state gives for. It's not money we can use for anything other than security funds for security purposes. So this is from an increase in attendance and an increase in student count has given us a small increase in funding to be able to move to do something additional with.
I know that we are short of certified teachers in certain areas.
Yeah.
Does this surplus also reflect the difference in our pay that we're paying out between the individuals that are non-certified that are holding those positions now and the certified positions? You understand what I'm
It's
saying?
a revenue, it's adjustment of
Yes.
additional unexpected revenue only. It's not factoring in all those.
This
items.
doesn't take into play any salary savings for a
That's what I'm
position that may
asking.
not be
So
fully
there's
filled.
no salary savings or adjustment to that at all.
Not in this currently. I
And that
just
number.
got this updated FSP number like late last week.
Okay.
So I don't have.
That's what I want. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, it kind of meshes both of y'all's points. I think the other thing Ms. Mylan brought up is when you make an adjustment for insurance, that's in perpetuity. When you do a retention stipend, we can give it, say, hey, we're good this year, but not necessarily depend on that year after year or spring after spring moving forward. You can't look at salary savings as something that we will always have. If the TIA works, right, that initiative works and we get to keep more teachers and all of that, we shouldn't have salary savings in perpetuity, right? We should eventually get to where we are not having open positions that are filled with temporary subs. So I think if you move on this, which it's fine, we just have to understand that that is a forever cost that will never go away. That will stay there. You can't go back on supporting people's insurance.
So we got our snapshot number and that's how we know that this is the increase. Okay. Sure, because I knew we
Yeah.
were waiting for that.
And just keep in mind, like universally, we have to have another bus. We have one bus that's broken half the time and the other bus is only available part of the time. And we're using it all the time to move people around and it's not available for field trips. And we have to have another bus. And that's somewhere between 80 and 100,000.
Has the district ever done like a holiday bonus?
We did when we had the federal state ESSER funds. We did that every year. Yeah, during those 3 years. It's gone. Go ahead.
But I wonder if I don't know. I think the bus takes priority.
I don't
Clearly,
think,
that's a safety matter. But did y'all consider when you met about giving a $50 bonus at Christmas? I mean, it's not a lot. but
no,
it's
we were
something.
only considering this question of insurance.
that's what
premium
had been brought up.
contribution. So
Okay.
we're not figuring it, that was not within the scope of our conversation.
Okay,
And
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think the conversation should broaden to what is the best way to use this surplus, I think that's a different conversation. Maybe we could brainstorm some ideas and then come back together and discuss them, or our committee would be happy to discuss other.
And I'll be serious with you. I don't think that surplus right there is overly large either.
Yeah, it's very small.
I mean, I don't think it's very large either.
Yeah.
And
I was in favor of a $30 premium now. I think we have the money now. It's symbolic. It's a gesture. It says we're listening to you. We're meeting you halfway on this premium increase. That's my position.
Katrina, how many of our staff don't take insurance? Just about.
We have
20%.
90 to 100 maybe that do take it.
Yeah, so out of 170, so probably 60% that take it and 40% that don't.
And it is possible to do the bus and a contribution increase. I'm not trying to talk you into it, but I just want to make that clear. It's not an either or.
Katrina, is this is an estimated right now, right? Or this is what it's gonna be for sure based on the numbers that we have so far?
That's.
Based on the numbers we have so
Well,
far?
That's assuming students stay enrolled and they keep attending school
Yeah, that's assuming that attendance stays at the level it is.
and they keep attending school for the rest of the year. Yes, that's correct.
Well, because in 6 weeks, we'll receive another number.
Another updated number.
Yeah.
Mhm. That'll estimate for the rest of the year. So it adjusts every 6 weeks based on our submitted attendance rate and enrollment numbers.
How many of our teachers have expressed a problem or displeasure with this? Is this a kind of an isolated group, or is this kind of broadly all of our teachers aren't happy?
I've gotten about 40 emails about it.
About insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think that's also tied, you have to understand, and again, I'm not trying to sound negative, but I think that's tied again to we lose the bonus at Christmas, and the bonus at Christmas was a substantial amount. $1,000
Yeah.
is a bunch.
Yeah.
That buys at least one nice gift. But
I know.
but I think that drop, and then when you look at the cost of increase, the salary increase of 1%, I think that together leads to a little bit of what we're discontent. And I think then when they look and they say, well, my God, I'm making $9.12 a month more, but my insurance rate has been raised. I think it's just a general more feeling of, hey,
I'm net neutral.
yeah, yes, I'm not making much more, I'm not losing more, but I'm not getting ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main deal. So I think what Dr. Cunningham made as a good point in the fact that it's more like a gesture that we're trying. I think that's what it is. But yes, I think generally it would be considered a general concern across the district.
I guess my thought from having done like employment, at least from the law side, gestures don't really do anything. It's like saying that we can't take care of you. Here's a pizza party on Friday. You can wear blue jeans. You know, I don't want to put a Band-Aid over something that's a real problem and say that we're going to spend this money or we're going to have a tight budget and that's going to potentially cause us some problems later. And we're still going to have teachers that are unhappy. And that's a kind of worst case
I don't think
scenario.
unhappy is a good word, but
They're still going to be unhappy, right? It's going to make
Wishful.
yes,
Wishful. Yeah.
wishful.
So I have a question for you guys as your superintendent sitting over here in the corner, listening to you guys talking about it. If the end result is we need money in the pockets of our teachers, if that's the end result, which is I'm absolutely 100% for that. I do want you to consider long-term sustainability. And my hope is that we are able to return to raises in at least a COLA amount, right? The cost of living adjustment amount, which is going to be an aggressive lift just to get to COLA's cost of living adjustments without some significant changes in funding from the state. The current landscape from the state is unless legislatures are willing to pass vouchers, there will not be another adjustment for expenses, for operations, for schools. If that is what the landscape continues to look like, which that's what they're saying right now, then we're going to have to figure out how to keep people, which means more raises, right? New people don't require raises. Keeping people requires raises. We're going to have to figure out how to keep people when our enrollment eventually caps and our budget caps. And I don't worry about putting money in the hands of teachers or staff. I'm absolutely for that. I worry about building in a system that we can't adjust back, which is what happened after COVID. We built in a system where we gave money and we did the big raises and we did the big adjustment several years ago and now we can't do it and everyone feels it. We rolled back that, not our heartfelt generosity, but our financial generosity in that moment because the money wasn't there anymore. And so that's my only hesitation, not a hesitation in giving a nod, giving a gesture, but building it into the system means we don't have any flexibility walking forward. Putting it in the hands of our staff, 100%. Like, then they could use it. They could use it to pay that insurance premium, or they could use it to buy the Christmas gift, or they could use it to do whatever it is they choose to do it. I absolutely think if we have additional money that we don't need for operations and revenues, we should put that back in the hands of our staff. For sure.
I don't want to be heard to say that I think we should not.
I didn't hear that at
give
all.
money to teachers.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. What I heard is how we code it and when we do it is the question, right? So, Tyler and Jennifer have a statement. Or Tyler has a statement.
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yes, it's appropriate.
I think another thing, the increase in salary and a teacher pay scale is a step process. So if you're a teacher, it's already built into steps, which many of the teachers, didn't know this until I just ran the numbers, but many of the teachers, it is a 1% increase from their 20th year to their 21st year or their first year. There's a couple of our steps that are larger than that, up to 3%. But the 1% increase that was approved by the board last year was for non-teaching salary. Every teacher received their step raise, which is just the board approved salary scale. So I think that's another distinction when people bring this concern is teachers didn't get some reduction in their raise. They got the approved raise that is in the salary scale that's been continued to be approved by the board. Now, if the board changed the teacher pay scale, teachers would get a bigger raise, right? But what happened last year was not a decrease in teachers' costs are increasing, insurance costs increased, all of that is true.
It wasn't an extra
Everyone
raise.
got a raise, it's not a significant one. Teachers got the raise that was already approved in the salary scale. Non-teachers typically have gotten a 3% raise. Some years it was 4%. This year it was 1%. So that was a reduction for non-teaching staff. The teaching staff got the pre-approved raise that they've been getting based on the salary scales that already exist. Except for years that we've done the cost, we've increased the base salary, or increased all of those.
Or we've done steps plus.
So I bring that up to say that I think having that clarity as well, because I think sometimes people get confused, like I didn't get a raise or I got a reduced raise. But teaching staff actually got the same, like there was a commitment from the board to, even with a tighter budget, to make sure teachers were given the most attention. And got the same thing they were supposed to get. No reduction happened there. Non-teachers did see a reduction. So maybe that's some of the voices.
Well, and there are some people that are at their last step. Seriously. But if you get to a certain number, there is no added raise.
The added steps when people get to that step. I don't know. We used to only have 20 steps, now we're at 30.
Somebody keeps pushing our steps up. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd be willing to replace this with a conversation for how to use this surplus for a Christmas bonus, if that's more appealing to people. Or is that for an end of year bonus or retention bonus for signing up for next year or something like that?
Katrina could run for y'all's next committee meeting the difference, because running it for insurance is about 60% of our staff. Running it for all employees obviously is going to be more of a cost, but you might be looking at 50,000 instead of 30,000. I think is what I read up there, even just for something small. So I'm absolutely not opposed to putting money in the pockets of our staff. Not at all. So
this point was good in the sense that if it was, $50 is not nothing, but it's hard to go from $1,000 one year and then the next year get the jelly of the month. So I mean, like, I think it's important. I think it's worth the discussion. The board should take that on. But I'm not trying to convince not to give things to teachers either. But I think you should be careful. A tiny something doesn't always send the message that you want it to send. Nothing doesn't send a message either. I get that, but
unless you
I don't know if a $50 gift card really helps people feel like they want to be retained. So that's the tricky part about this.
Okay, teachers have ideas like for how we can.
Well, but
the numbers aren't there.
In all fairness, we've had multiple ideas that have come through here already. Like providing free or reduced healthcare, or not healthcare, free or reduced daycare to those students that you. So there have been multiple ideas that have already been run through here. And I think I'm just going to give a warning out. I think what you're going to find, we already had a teacher leave this deal because of salary last night. And you're going to have more teachers leave this salary if we cannot start to incentivize something and get it closer. And we're trying.
Well, see, and what I hear is the salary is not enough. I'm leaving because of salary. It's not that I'm leaving because it's $10 a month for my childcare. I'm not leaving because my insurance premium is X or Y. And so if we're addressing the underlying problem that we can't pay our teachers enough, let's figure out how to address that instead of.
I don't disagree with
Band-aids
you. I'm not in disagreement, but what I'm saying is the feedback that we've gotten, that I've gotten, are from teachers that are saying, if you would just show a gesture, it would be better. And I'm not disagreeing with what you said.
Chris, if we look at the insurance adjustment, it's 60% of our staff and the other 40 are not any.
Yeah.
If you look at a retention stipend,
Absolutely.
It's potentially 100% of our staff, or not potentially, it would be 100% of our staff. Now, you might have to adjust the total amount, or you might have to adjust when we do it, or we might need to wait because you asked a question about, is this the number? Right.
Correct.
So we might have to wait till that number is a little more locked in for the season, right? For the whole year.
Well, that might fluctuate up or down.
Yeah, it will likely not go up.
Yeah.
It could go down, but it will likely not go up because we typically don't start and then go up with student enrollment. It kind of settles over the year, and then over the summer we enroll more, and then it kind of settles over the year the next year.
Some on the wait list. Do you ever consider mid-year admissions?
We admit all around the year except at high school, and it's at each semester. So we admit year round.
I know we didn't have it on this month, but
Yeah,
I felt like there were wait lists, or maybe it was just pre-K that had it, or a few other ones.
Yeah, so kinder has a big wait list, 6 has a big wait list, but we don't have capacity in those grades. And so there may have been sometimes there'll be 2 on the wait list and an open spot. And it's just because we've called one and they haven't started the class yet and whatever else. But we fill every spot that's available whenever it's available, except high school because of dual credit. We do it at the beginning of each semester. But other than that, we fill them. Yeah.
Well, you'd certainly know more about that number for a retention bonus because those contracts go out in March or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you were considering bring it, but I think it would need to be substantial. We're thinking about $50 a month on a 10-month contract is $500, 25 is 200. So I would think it would need to be in that range as whether it's or if you were considering a bonus mid-year or for re-signing.
Yeah, even if it's a one-time, even if it's a monthly.
That's the number that makes the most sense. That range makes the most sense to me because I don't think $50 is.
And I'm even more comfortable with that, just the one-time thing as opposed to a new budget line item.
I wanted to say, I believe that your sentiments were felt by the facility committee when we had the discussion that night about taking something from positions that were available and unfilled and putting it there. We had the urge and desire to make sure that that was put back, but also seeing the potential of the fundraiser, and then also knowing that you can do this. We could develop a fundraising plan for different projects at different times. I think some of those ideas, maybe some of the things that we want to be able to bring back to the board and say, hey, we've got this. Is it okay to do something for the staff, do something for teachers with that? So I would say my hope in the facility committee is that we can add to our surplus, that we can bring in something that not only takes care of what projects we have there, but that can be given back to the Rapoport community, whether it's students, it's teachers, it's other spaces. And hopefully, and this is just for me personally, I love all that we do on fundraising, but I am in a very aggressive fundraising environment. So I am always, every single year, we are always aggressively doing it. I would love for us to come away with not just this is what we did when the gym opened, but something we can present to the school to say, if you want to continue to add pavers, annually, then we can have annual kind of brick paver sign up. And then every year you're going to have something that comes to you for that. Or as you're adding this along and developing these areas, here's a plan, no matter whether we're here or not, that can be implemented. And hopefully people look at that as here's a separate pot of money that we can absolutely do as we feel it's appropriate to do for the things that we can't always cover consistently as budget line items. So I want our teachers to know that I think we make tough decisions while we're here to make sure that, the lights stay on and everything happens. But after and this is just a budget in mind, but after we have taken care of everything, we do want to take care of the fun stuff. We do want to do rewards. And I have that kind of relationship with my son. So I get it. He is not always happy that we cannot have exactly what it is, but I have to make a promise to him and deliver on my promise. And then sometimes I have to tell him, you know what, this is not that season. We've got birthday, we've got Christmas, we've got this. And so I would love to give them something to look forward to and actually have something to back it up. So I hope that helps.
I do think this is a starkly different situation. I don't think it's up to the board to judge whether $25 is meaningful or not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you were saying that. I really, money is money, cash in pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's, can we do it? Likely, we could probably do it, yes or no, so there's a part of me that wants to bring it to vote, just because at face value, we can do this. And that is the most important thing, is that we're helping teachers today. We're helping teachers with what we can. You're right. We can't do we can't do a big raise or adjust the pay scale yet,
Mhm.
legislature.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
You said,
Can we maintain it? If we start this.
We don't know.
Like,
None of us can see the future.
But I mean, if you're
Yeah.
using the surplus, there's no guarantee it's gonna be there, and you start providing them with something, and then you have to stop. That concerns me.
yeah, you can't stop what you can. I would be much more supportive of a one-time than I would be to put it into the calculation model.
And I would be supportive of a one-time that covers that increase before, I think, adding the cost. But that's an even bigger budget hole, obviously, because if you're talking about 100% of teachers, but I do think something that goes directly into the hands of every teacher is more meaningful than a sort of cut to the cost for 60% of them.
I don't know that you need the board update to do any kind of Christmas bonus. I mean, a board approval to do any kind of Christmas bonus.
Yeah, we
But
are not able to spend anything over $4,000 without board approval. Yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
mean-
nothing over 4,000.
Could we have that for November of just,
Mhm.
is there any possibilities for a one-time cash distribution? For sake of time, let's move on.
Sure.
Thank you. Great conversation.
For November.
For November, yeah.
So Katrina will make sure that that's on there and then we meet and then we'll bring it to the finance committee prior to the meeting.
Oh,
and
that'd be
then to the
awesome.
board then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finance is going to meet with our investment dude in November as well. So just FYI. Okay, let's move on. ESL. Thank you.
Yay,
Stephanie. For being
Stephanie.
so patient. I'm sorry.
Yay!
So excited.
Okay, let me
I am ready to rock and roll.
Okay,
Thank you.
let me pull up your presentation. Just a second. I thought I had it up and it's not.
I am Stephanie Schatzschneider. I'm the English as Second Language Coordinator for the whole district. I've been here for a while. Not here at this meeting.
Yes. Although
You've been here for a while, here as well. No, that's true.
Where'd your meeting go? Oh, hang on just a second, Stephanie. I downloaded it so that I wouldn't have this problem. Give me just a second, you guys. You want to start by introducing the first slide of it? Do you remember that slide?
Okay, now the first slide is a picture of myself and two other coordinators that helped me. I have the instructional coach at Llewellyn Elementary, Dallas Oron, helps me out there. And oh my gosh, why am I going blank?
I got it. It's okay. I got it right here.
Arthur, Emily. I've been teaching Spanish for the last 2 days.
Yay.
My brain is fried.
Okay, and I'm sharing it now. Okay, there you go.
Okay, you go.
There they are. Ta-da!
Yeah, there we are.
Okay.
Okay. So you, well, you went too fast.
Oh, I went too fast. I'm sorry. There you go. I'm back.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
That's them? Okay.
That's them. Okay, so there are some acronyms and definitions that I need to review with you guys. First of all is emergent bilingual student. We do not call our English learners in Texas English learners. We call them emerging bilinguals. And that means a student whose primary language is other than English and whose English language skills are such that the student has difficulty performing ordinary classwork in English. Parent does include legal guardian of the student. ESL's English as second language. Then EB, and then BE is bilingual education, which we do not offer at Rapoport, nor do we have to. So the ELL, English Language Learner, EL is a federal term, like I said, Texas Emerging Bilingual. So there are various programs, bilingual programs. You have to have an enrollment of 20 or more EBs in the same grade level, which we do not have. So we have ESL programs, and we have both content-based and pull-out. So the ESL content-based is where the teacher in all core subjects are ESL certified. That happens at Llewellyn, okay? Because you've got pre-K, kinder, first grade. Same teacher pretty much teaches all of those subjects. And so we typically do not have any problems getting ESL certified teachers for that campus. Okay. Our other version is ESL pull-out. That does not mean we actually pull the kids out of the classroom. That only means that the English language arts teacher is ESL certified. And the other core subjects, not necessarily so. Okay. So for the enrollment of last year, we had, oh yeah, this is mainly about last year. So 77 students total. You can see the breakdown of each of the grade levels. We do have a lot at the middle school. So this is our EB student enrollment for the, since I've been doing the program in 2019-20. We had a drop from 82 to 70, mainly because we gave a different kind of test because it was COVID. We could not give TELPAS as we wish, but they still wanted to give students the opportunity to get out of the program. It was a much simpler test, and therefore we had a great success. And then, of course, lower enrollment, naturally. We've picked back up, and we currently also, I think, have 74 students this year. So we had 5 students exit the program this past year. That is for us it's a good number. To exit the program, a student must receive advanced high composite score. So they take a test which tests their listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It is all on a computer for 2nd through 12th graders. And if they take a STAR reading language arts test, they have to pass that. Or if they don't take the STAR reading language arts test, they have to reach 40 percentile or above in the Iowa Achievement test in the reading and language arts and get a recommendation from the English language arts teacher. Getting out of this program is no easy feat for our EBs, for any EB. So we do have this year 5 English language arts teachers that are not satisfied. That is an increase from last year. I think we had maybe 2 or 3. There are a total of 29 staff who are certified. We have to submit a waiver when we do not meet this, but this happens at most schools. We do make a strong effort to hire ESL certified staff, and we do cover the costs for training and for the test upon passing. So our professional development, we had Region 12 here for a 3-day coaching for our non-ESL certified teachers. That was amazing. There are no words. I learned so much. And we had at the MacArthur campus, we had Emily Ashenfelter, the reading language arts instructional coach, be a part of that. And she really gained a lot. So they're actually going to come back again this year. We also had a review. I give a PD about the review of LPAC, ELPS, and ESL best practices for the classroom. And I notified staff of any PDs and trainings at Region 12. So to monitor our students, we use a rubric that's based on TELPAS. That's the English proficiency test that they have to take once a year. And we have teachers fill out this each quarter to help guide student progress and supports. I'll show an example in just a minute. I track this, the ESL TELPAS data. And again, Region 12 was here, and we support our teachers. I participate in Win Time at the elementary, and we have software for both students and teachers to help guide, and that includes virtual non-glossary, Imagine Learning, and Summit K-12. Summit K-12 is funded by Region 12. So this is what this looks like. It's a rubric, like I said, based on the TELPAS, and teachers really give me a lot of useful feedback and how we can support our students in the classroom. a lot of our EBs, what we call long-termers, it's just hard to get out of this program. We have also quite a few EBs who are in other special populations. And so it really is a challenge. So parent engagement activities include quarterly newsletters, meeting with parents at parent-teacher conferences, providing books for our EBs and reading strategies, tips for parents. McLennan Library was at Art for All, and then we try to use our connections at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So here are some other links that are available for our EB parents of our EBs. And we also try to make sure that we have bilingual personnel available on the campus to help support translations for meetings and documents. We do not want our children, translating at parent-teacher conferences and other meetings for their parents. Okay. So looking ahead, I'd like to have field trips to the McLennan Library for all the students. We've had difficulties getting parents to come for ESL engagement in the evening. So I'd like to tentatively try a lunch, a grab and not grow, but grab and go. Sorry about that. Lunch. Hopefully we all grow in our understanding and helping and supporting of our students. And yeah, I'd like to give that a shot. Supports for our teacher. Again, I will continue participating in WIN time when I finish my stint as the Spanish teacher, and also continue using the software for both students and teachers. And we do participate every year in the Title III conference in San Antonio, is specifically for English learners. This past year, I had Ms. Fuller went, our special pop director. I was supposed to go, but was not able to. And then we had 3 teachers actually go. The year before, we had more instructional coaches attend, and a lot was learned. So, and we get a lot of support from Region 12 covering those costs. Yeah, and that's the end of my report. And if you have any questions, there's my email with my very long last name. And yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. I'll just say, so Stephanie jumped in and we were doing the program supporting students for years like we were supposed to. And then she stepped in and really took that role and just ran with it and made it a real thing. So she tracks down students and tracks down families and goes and visits them in their classroom and brings them books and helps support teachers and make sure that we have content that supports the student and just follows up with them at school, out of school, during the day, at home, year round. It's really incredible what she's done to really create a program from more like a compliance program into really a support program. So Stephanie, thank you for all that you do.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hey, she says,
Campus and district improvement.
yes. So I will go as much or as little in depth of these as you want. So we had those in there, except the elementary was just added late this afternoon. So my thought is I'm just going to walk through them very quickly. And then if you have questions, then you let me know. So I'm going to start over here with the district one. So you guys are only required to look at it at the goal and performance objective level. I went ahead and gave you the strategies at the district level so that you could at least see those and kind of how we're moving forward with those. And then at the elementary campuses and the middle school and the high school campus, we gave you the goals and performance objectives on those. If you want to know any of the strategies, please talk to Tyler or Jennifer. They'll be happy to give you all the details of those. But I tried to keep it in a way that felt very consumable for that. So you'll see really there's 3 goals. We keep it in the very simple structures, right? Like 3 goals, you can't measure more than that. Underneath each of those, there'll be some priority statements. And then under each of those, there'll be a series of strategies. Some of the strategies are required by law. We have to have them in a plan somewhere. And then others of them are very customized. So they all have to have kind of measurable pieces to that. So you'll see me just kind of run through them up at the screen. So goal 1, prepare students for college, career, and life. Then we have performance objective, which is STAR scores. Okay. And then we have the strategies underneath those. Here's how we're going to work with them. how it's going to impact the students. This is specifically related to funding sources. We have to be able to code a lot of our federal funding into specific pieces and goals for these programs. Still under goal 1, performance 2. So this is meets level on the STAR, specifically in math. And so we want to continue to grow on that. These line up with the goals that the board has set that we've already had discussion here from the Region 12 conversation. So here's strategies underneath that, how we're going to use it, what we're going to do with professional development, walk through that. Performance objective 3, still under the goal 1, is training resources and instructional strategies. So this is kind of the teacher training side of things. So improving the outcomes through teacher training. So you can see the different strategies underneath that. So we're going to use teaching assistants. We get state and federal funding for teaching assistants. So we have to note in there how we're going to use them. We get funding for RTI, that's response to intervention, and extra support for students. So we have to put information in there about that. So we do extra training for at-risk students. So we have to put information for that. Homeless students, we have to do information for that. We also have in there academic interventions on each campus. And so that is noted in there as another strategy. And then we fund part of our data program for students, our monitoring program for student support. We fund that through that. So that's in there as well. For the performance objective 4, again, still underneath goal 1. So this is hiring and retaining highly effective staff. You will see those strategies underneath that. So it has to deal with incentives and rewards. It has to deal with NTO training. It has to deal with our co-op funding our co-op program that we use through Region 12 for professional development, our instructional coaches. We're doing feedback, so interviews for instructional staff, stay and exit interviews, targeted professional development plans for staff, overhauling the P2C. That's one of those initiatives that you guys, we presented back to you guys, one of those 6 big initiatives that we talked through with that. And then performance objective 5, that's an attendance one. And so you'll see some of the initiatives underneath that, how we want to continue to press and grow. Our goal is 97. We've reached that in several places. Now we just need to sustain that through the whole year. So you can see, so high attendance with recognition, chronic absenteeism, support for that, and then attendance improvement plans, talking about those with staff. All right, so goal 2 and goal 3 are a bit shorter. So goal 2 is collaborative environment, in which family and community are active participants in our education. So performance objective 1, opportunities for parents to be actively engaged with their child's education. So that's parent-teacher conference. How are we going to get them here to parent-teacher conferences? And so you'll see various strategies underneath that. Again, these are at the district level. A lot of these you'll see fed right into the campus plans if you look through those plans as we came through here. So you can see those strategies. I won't take your time and read through every single one of those, but those are in your drive. Performance objective 2 is collaboration between students and programs within the greater Waco community. So that's one of our HB3 goals that we've talked about. And so this is work-based learning. It's triple win. It's also college tours and field days and field trips and step-up days and internal sharing days. All of that is kind of included in this goal 2, performance objective 2 piece for that. You see Stephanie's like EB family program is in there. Cultural events and identity. Those are some of the things that we've kind of really pressed on and continued even from when we had the chief impact officer position. Then goal 3 is safe, orderly, and technologically advanced environment that's conducive to learning. So this is where we reflect safety, school safety. So we have to have acknowledgements for the different components of safety. Within that, we also have character development that fall underneath this category. We have reviewing of Skyward's behavior data that falls underneath this category, transition between campuses. So all that is included in there. You can kind of keep on going, dig through that. The facilities conversation, restorative practices, our commitment to continuing that work, that is built into this plan. Then performance objective 2 is state compliance requirements for safety and security. So you see the strategies, the door numbers, the door locking programs and systems, standard response protocol, all of that is encompassed in all of this. Then performance objective 3, educational and training stakeholders on topics that impact the health and wellness of school community. So this is where you'll see our student health advisory committee. You'll see some of the health trainings that we have to complete, and the EduHero trainings we have to do annually. A wellness policy plan that's established by the Student Health Advisory Committee. We have to do triannual reviews of those. The Safe and Supportive Schools program, all of that is contained in that. And then there's two more, sorry. Building the capacity of our students and staff to be innovative in technology. So making sure that we have fully functioning devices and making sure that there is a plan for technology updates. And then the last one is students using the food service program. And so that is looking at not only the menus and the items, but tracking breakfast and utilization and consumption of those. So that is long and that is quick, but that's our district improvement plan. And then you'll see, again, in your drive. So there is the high school improvement plan. Then there's the middle school improvement plan. And there is the elementary improvement plan. Tyler, is there anything you just want to specifically call out that's different or hasn't already been covered in the district one that I just ran through that you want to highlight for them instead of going through everything?
I would just point out that for the middle school campus, we are based on, so as you all know, state accountability scores, letter grades were paused based on litigation at the state level. However, federal accountability is not paused because it's not under litigation. So according to federal accountability, our middle school has been placed under a support level based on some concerns in math instruction for special education students. It's called an additional targeted support school. It's kind of 3 levels if you're not meeting some expectations. We go from comprehensive support, which is the most intensive support, and there's significant failures in areas. Additional targeted support, and then there's targeted support. So our middle school is in that middle level of additional targeted support based on 3 years in a row of not meeting targets with special education students in math instruction. That very specific niche area is an area that 3 years in a row students have not met the targets that have been placed for them. And so we need to make sure our plan is geared towards that focus. Fortunately, we have already recognized the significant need that we have with math instruction in general, and then being able to utilize a lot of strategies related to math, making sure that we're looking at that even more specifically with special education students. So when you look through the middle school plan, you'll see some strategies are listed in additional to the performance objectives. I just pulled the specific strategies that are meant to address that specific concern. So they range from more frequent data checks that we're doing at the end of units of study that our math instructional coach is meeting with teachers to be able to more frequently respond to data rather than on a quarterly basis. We're doing it multiple times a quarter to be able to spiral in data. We made a decision to reduce our instructional coaching staff by 1 staff member to retain a math instructional coach who we were employing math interventionist. Sorry, we already had a math instructional coach. We kept a math interventionist that we were employing through ESSER funds. That position was going to have to go away, but we wanted to retain it. So we, instead of having a 4-person instructional coaching team, we reduced the team to 3, distributed caseloads differently, and then added the math instructional coach.
Based on a vacant position.
The math interventionist, excuse me, I said it wrong again. So that's listed in here. We changed some instructional minutes in 5th grade in particular, which is our lowest performing grade in math and reading for the last several years. And they're typically an elementary grade, so we increased them. So you'll see a lot of strategy information about that specific need. And that's what I just wanted to highlight. Math. And very specifically, we'll be digging into that, the data and the response with our special education students in that as well. So we did adjust percentages from last year's plan based on STAR data, based on teacher retention data. We had a higher rate of retention this last year. So we were able to increase our retention rate from hoping for 80% retention to 85% of our staff because we can increase that. Our attendance goals increase. So a lot of the goals have actually gone up in a lot of areas because we are making improvements and we want to keep pushing towards excellence. And then there's a lot of focus on math instruction and the supports that we need there. So that's specifically the middle school.
Yeah.
Questions about middle school? There's a lot of alignment between middle and high school in terms of goals and performance objectives because we're one team, even though with the Texas Education Agency, we're 2 campuses, so that's why there's 2 plans. But you'll see there's a lot of similarities. The goals related to end of course exams. We also add a graduation rate and a college career and military readiness rate. Those are aligned to the things we've done with Region 12. Also, we have some checkpoints and they're aligned to our district goals. Our high school continues to perform very well academically. It's, I think, a testament to the fact that our students, as they persist at Rapoport, continue to improve academically as we change their trajectories, and that is our mission. So we don't have any federal accountability designations from the federal government for the high school, so you won't see any strategies listed there because we're not targeted support or additional targeted support or anything like that. So the only thing you'll notice is some increase in goals. So we increased meets and master's level goals for all of our end of course exams from last year and increase that staff retention and attendance rate. So not a lot of changes to the high school plan or the increasing goals.
Updating.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
The elementary, so Tedek have explained where we're at. Elementary was at the top level there of targeted support and improvement. We did see some improvement in federal accountability from last year to this year, which was good, though we still fall in that range of federal accountability and needing to keep an eye on that. What we did find out recently was that in order to address this, we don't have to have some separate additional different plan like we've done in the past, targeted improvement plans, TIP plans. We can now put that inside of our campus improvement plans. They're called LIPs, local improvement plans, within the SIP, the campus improvement, aligned with the DIP, the district. TA loves this stuff. So anyway, there are 4 goals for elementary that are beefed up from what we're already doing, and it does include, that's what we built our local improvement plan in there. It includes measures and goals and metrics so that we can start to track those things specifically for what we need at elementary, which is both SPED, same as what Tyler was sharing, as well as Hispanic population. So we've got some strategies and goals that we'll continue to press into so that we can improve in those areas, as well as other areas. But yeah, it's up there. And like I said, those 4 goals and strategies are the ones that will satisfy the local improvement plan.
Okay, so this is a voting item or any questions?
And just to note, it's
Sorry.
just a receive and file voting
Oh, okay.
item. So it's not like you're approving of the strategies or anything else. It's saying, yes, we have received this information. We have asked questions if we want to, and we are going to just receive it and file it. I need to drop a book and wake everybody up.
We were just looking for questions in
Yeah.
each other's eyes.
It's a lot of information. No, good.
I do have a question.
Good.
I mean, it is. So do we, those sort of formative, like whether you met benchmark, do we get that at the December meeting and then the February meeting to see whether these plans are being met?
Yeah. So then
Right, where it's got the 3
we can
columns.
absolutely bring those in. It's something that we monitor with our staff.
Oh,
It's not typically something that we've brought back up to the board. We could easily bring it back up to the board, but we do those formative assessments as we go through the year. We have before brought it at the end of the year,
okay, just
but the
to
board
what
can
some
kind
of
of see just, yeah, more like a summative,
Okay.
kind of where we went through from
Could
that.
we do that?
Which one?
Could we have it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not all of them, but the ones that I think are specifically relevant to.
You're talking
Federal
about the ones that are
accountability.
targeted within the plans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that data is being collected.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we do the formative and summative. So typically we have checkpoints. Now, not all of them have updated data between the checkpoints, because if a benchmark's not taken until February, obviously you're not going to have an
Right,
update in December or things like that, but for sure. absolutely.
Or maybe
Um,
that's something that we don't do with district improvement.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll get with Tyler and Jennifer and we'll talk about what milestones and timelines, and it may even be that we pull pieces out
Yeah, yeah.
and bring like, oh, here's these 2 performance objectives that we have an update on. This is where we are as we walk through those. Yeah. Sounds great.
Want a motion?
I move that we
Receive
review this,
yeah.
receive this.
Yeah.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank y'all. Okay, literacy framework presentation.
So that's one I referenced earlier. So Jennifer gave just a quick update from that one. And so that'll be coming as we move forward. So we're still in the gathering feedback. We weren't quite sure if we were going to have a wordsmith by this point, but it's not ready for you guys yet, but it's really, really exciting. So it's going to be fun. Okay. Parent family engagement. Can I press on with that one? All right. So there's a couple of things. I gave you guys a heads up before that we've started tracking in our student support meetings what parent family engagement looks like. I did have a couple of people ask questions kind of after the meeting and even back on the campus. It's like, what are the things we do for parents and families? Where can we find that? What does that look like? And so I thought I would just bring that to you guys. So one, I wanted to just let you guys know that what we've recognized is we're starting to see trends in alignment. I know it's not a big surprise, but it's interesting to see the data between students that have behavior problems and low performing academics. Like that's not as much of a surprise, but we're also able to really connect it in with parents who are not actively engaged. Meaning they're not attending parent conferences or social engagements. Now, we don't do things like rock the block. It's impossible to track who all comes to those. But when we're looking at academically related engagement opportunities, that's really what we're tracking. We tie it in with students, academics, and behavior. So I think it'll be interesting to start to really develop some baseline data where we specifically connect those 2 together. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew up on there on our website, under the parent portal, the parent section, there's all these different things. And so it's ways for parents to easily find what they need, easily to go to where they need to go to get data, to the portal, to pay the bills, to everything else. We're currently reworking the website, but there will still be this easy access part on that. And then if you go to parent and family engagement, we have a whole page that is all the contact information, talks about what we do, the guardian educator organization. We don't call it PTA. We call it guardian educators because they're not all necessarily biological parents. We have the Rad Dad program, which is something that we have. Dads come in, they do carpool, they walk through the campus. It's a really cool thing. If parents want to get engaged, they can just click the button and it'll send the information in. It typically goes to Ms. Menifee and then she distributes that. We also have, very rare for schools our size, a parent liaison who's a master's level social worker. And that's what she does, is whatever it takes to help kids get engaged and to help families get engaged. If they need gas cards, she can help them find it. If something's happened with an eviction, she can help fix that. Like not fix it, but solve some of the problems surrounding that. So anyway, so we have a parent liaison that is on that. And then we also have these official documents below. So we have the compacts, we have it in Spanish for each of the different campuses, and then also an engagement policy for the district. And then we have like our HQ pre-K policy. So I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I just want you guys to know, like, I would love for you to dig through this if you want to, but also if you run into people and they're like, what does it look like? Or what do we do for parents? Or if you're sitting there like, what do we do? We put these resources out there so that they're wide open and so that they're public and so that people can get to those. If it's been a while since you've looked through our parent compact, of course we did it. We talked through it at orientation. We walked through that. But I would strongly recommend that you go through and just click on the parent compact at any of the campuses. They're very similar, but they're not exactly the same. So click on those compacts and look through and see that compact is what you do as a parent, what we do as a school, and how we connect together to support kids. So that's a great resource for you guys. So I would suggest you go through and look at that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Board self-evaluation.
Yes, board self-evaluation. Thank you guys for getting that into me today. So if you open the Excel file and you look on the summary tab, it aggregates.
We've got it right up there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I looked on this and it seems like every marker seems to be moving in the right direction. So I would say, let's see, our habitually lowest self-assessment score is, I think that, well, sorry. Okay, yeah, the third item, each individual director has actively participated in the overall direction of RAP's committee work. I think the formation and the consistency of the committees, we're starting off really strong, and that's contributed to the improvement of scores for this August-October quarter. Any other thoughts? Board meetings have had all directors present. That's another tends to be low scoring piece.
My first time filling this out, so I want to make sure I did it right.
Oh, yeah.
Are we whole numbers only? Do we halves? Are we?
If you want to break it down, yeah, that's.
We never stipulated.
It's really just whatever.
Said 1 to 4, but I was gonna say there were some 5s submitted.
I think that's why we got some averages over 4.
Yeah, there were some
When I
5s
looked at that, I
submitted.
thought, are we going 1 to 5 now? 1 to 4?
Yeah.
We got 4.11.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's a 1 to 4
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah. We can go back in and adjust it. And we are extra magical. Yeah.
Other lower areas stepped in to help accomplish tasks without having to be asked, come to board meetings well prepared. Big improvements.
Massive improvements.
but,
Thank you.
Just something to be aware of. Yeah.
I had a question and I answered it to the best of my ability, but I did go look at everybody else's and I wanted to know if I was missing something. In question number 4, directors have demonstrated a clear understanding of your name just popped over my room.
Oh, sorry. Of their role.
Responsibilities and not becoming unduly involved in the day-to-day management of the school board or the school. And I was like, to my knowledge, nobody becomes involved in but it was less than a 4. And so I was like, what is it that we need to stay out of that we are over involved in? I guess I'm asking for those people that felt it was less than a 4.
I guess one of my thoughts were that not in any of our action items, but some of the discussions, I think, tend to encroach on what I would consider Dr. Newman's role.
But that is in the board meeting, not in her day-to-day coming to her. So we are free to discuss it here, but we do not come to you to run your job during the week.
No, so I think, so what she's getting at, so number one, I will just say that I'm really grateful for actually having board discussion and having engaged and active board members. I'm so grateful for that. I am learning what it's like to have really active, engaged board members. And I think that is a great growing pain, right, to have. So I think, in my opinion, what you're referencing on that is it's one thing to have discussion here, but when you have discussion here, it can't help but direct my work somewhere else. So if the board discusses it here and kind of has a suggestion or kind of has a thought, even if it's like whether the sidewalk should be painted blue, or I'm just using an example, right? Should there be grass here or fescue, right? Like whatever should it be? Like if you discuss it here, it will direct the work there. And so that's one of the things as we walk through board training, every 3 years, we'll walk through a reminder of what really is board level and what really isn't board level. I don't think anybody has maliciously gone out of that. I do think in my mind, like if I were going back and evaluating the board on that one item, I do think a clear understanding of the role and overstepping are 2 different things that are in one question, right? And so I definitely think there's probably some lack of clarity still, and any overstepping is only a product of a lack of clarity. It's in an effort to help and to support, not in an effort to like micromanage or encroach. I definitely don't feel that.
I was just gonna say, 'cause I've never seen it, but I would say that in the hopes that if I'm an offender, like please tell me,
I hear stories.
Yeah.
I don't have stories.
Like Ms. Payne, I don't need you to come up and watch the cafeteria for me because I'm doing, drive the bus. But I wanted to be clear on that because you're right. When I saw unduly involved, and it wasn't like across the board, it's like nobody feels that they're unduly. I was like, so who's unduly involved?
Yeah.
And so I think being clear on that and understanding so that if you are overstepping, you are aware. Okay, that's not my lane to be in. But I think I would even say not maybe clear understanding, you are correct, clear understanding of the role of being not just a board member, but also in how we consider the information that we receive, in that it is not always everyone's input is always appreciated. Every presentation is always appreciated. However, we are also asked to think independently based on that information. And so I would also say, in being able to say, wonderful presentation, but you should be free to disagree and have discussion about how do we get on the same page. So I think you're correct. It should be broken down, but also making sure that the ability to open a question in this room is safe, and that we don't carry any of that into, okay, I'm going to make sure this week you stay on what I asked you to stay on.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But I think that's more of us being able to have a moment. I'll say this as well about the evaluation. I think it is great that we implemented the tool and we're checking back as we are doing things and the results look good. I would love to, and it's sometimes difficult to talk about the way we work together outside of this room, because we don't want to walk in quorum. But I think it helps when you go to the Rock the Block or the Maker's Mark and you have a chance to kind of talk and be like, we want to be able to, talk about this or do this together, so that we have an idea of being able to check in with each other as we are deciding how we're going to move forward on certain things, like learning how to work with each other outside of the boardroom. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Good.
Thank you.
Good insight. I really am grateful. I'm grateful for the movement and the monitoring and the questioning and the press into that. I think it has made a lot more effective board. It's provided me a lot more support and conversation in that. So I'm very much appreciative.
I think Emily's lead has a lot to. Josh was an excellent leader, excellent, but you're not afraid to be firm with us, and even to a tone of I need you to do this. It's your job. Like, you have a very authoritative tone that is respected amongst the group.
That's
like you demand action, we show up and act accordingly.
I really appreciate that more than you know.
Yep, very much.
Okay, well, are there any suggestions moving forward? Otherwise, we'll check back in 3 months. I think it's like Rachel said, it's been really important for us to do this more frequently. I can't imagine having had that conversation in January and not revisiting it,
Yeah.
So
if I were to give one little piece of homework for
Yes.
the board, the next thing I would say, like, next step of growth, right? We've made lots of leaps and bounds of growth. Next step of growth is to ask questions, a lot of questions, whatever questions you have before you walk in, and then re-ask them here. That's fine. But I think that could take what could be a lengthy discussion for somebody who likes to process or who has other questions or things like that. If you see something on an agenda and you want to like pick up the phone and call Tyler and say, hey, I see this on the agenda. Can you answer this question? Or what is that? That way you come with some background knowledge, not just you, but you come with some background knowledge of what it is. Then we're not building background knowledge here. We're addressing the concerns, the differences in opinion, or digging into a content or a topic a little bit more. But to me, that's like, I never expected to be able to get to that level where I could ask the board to, hey, call me ahead of time, ask those questions ahead of time. Like, let me get you all the data, re-ask them. I don't want anybody to feel like they're left out of a question, but that pre-work is that next level of board engagement. So I'm excited for that.
good word.
I
Thank
was
you.
going to say, we'll take that from you too.
Yeah.
Okay, so for item 6, we already voted on it, right?
Yep. Item 6 is good.
Okay, construction update.
Okay. So just a super brief construction update so we can get to the last little item. So if you guys have driven past it in the last week, we have iron up on the sidewalls, the ceilings for the second level. They brought in the beams for round 1 for the gym. And the round 2 trusses should come in later on this week, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. So the guy driving him drove up from Monterey, delivered him, drove back, reloaded, and is driving back up from Monterey, Mexico. And anyway, so those will be in, and then they'll close up the sides and put the beams up, and they should start pouring concrete within the next 2 weeks. So we'll have a floor on the second level floor within the next 2 weeks. So all things are still pointing for substantial completion by the middle of April. Which means we can do graduation there on May 23rd. It'll probably be the only time we're ever going to be able to do that. If we can make that happen, it's still going to be a push and it's still going to be a stretch, but we will likely outgrow that already pretty quickly. But that'll be our big ribbon cutting and all of that. I know, grumble, grumble. So anyway, so that's what it's looking like. It's really exciting. It's moving forward. So I'm excited about it. Okay. The last agenda item I have is actually a closed session item, but I would prefer Mr. Gray to be able to stay in here, and I don't have any other action items that are following that.
Okay, so 7:23, we'll move into closed session.
Okay, let me hit stop share and stop recording.
Take any paper documentation of the session just that we.
Yes, you just have, this is,
Thank you.
she left you a note with the title.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording.
It's at 7:23.
All right, 7:41, closed session is ended.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Right.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much. I show 7:40.
Must I seal these and deliver